I wanted to ask you about your late friend, Maurice Sendak, who died this week, the writer and illustrator best known for his children's book, Where the Wild Things Are. He died on Tuesday at the age of 83. Earlier this year, Maurice Sendak was interviewed by Stephen Colbert on The Colbert Report.
Why write for children?
I don't write for children.
You don't?
No, I write. And somebody says, that's for children. I didn't set out to make children happy or make life better for them or easier for them.
Do you like them?
I like them as few and far between as I do adults. Maybe a bit more because I really don't like adults at all, practically.
That was the late Maurice Sendak on Stephen Colbert. Tony Kushner, can you talk about his work, his legacy, who he was?
We were joking with him when he was in the hospital that, and maybe it wasn't a joke, when he said on the Colbert Report that Newt Gingrich was an idiot, that he may have actually ended Newt Gingrich's hopes for, run at the presidency, because it was right around the time of the Gingrich campaign.
Because the children of the world rose up.
The children and the adults. I mean, that segment was unbelievably popular. Maurice had that ability to speak universally, which I think was evidence of the fact that he really was a genius, which is a word that I don't use often or lightly. I'm one of the things that I felt listening to the president yesterday was Maurice died on Tuesday morning at around 3 o'clock, and I was very sad that he wasn't alive to hear that. He was somewhat grumpy about marriage in general, but he really loved Obama. Obama read Where the Wild Things Are, and still every Easter reads the book to kids in the Rose Garden, and that meant a lot to Maurice. He has a little plastic Obama doll on his table. There's a photograph somewhere of Maurice pretending to eat the Obama doll because oral incorporation was one of the highest tributes, I'll eat you up, I love you so, I mean, that Maurice could give anyone. And I think he would have been tremendously pleased and moved. He was a wonderful, wonderful friend and immensely delightful person to spend time with. And I think just a very, as people have been saying, without question, the greatest figure in children's literature in this century, and a very great artist. I think a very significant American artist.
And why would Obama's statement about same-sex marriage matter so much to him if he had lived one more day?
Well, I mean, among the many extraordinary things that Maurice did was to come out in the New York. I mean, I had written a book about him where, with his permission, I outed him. But I didn't out him, but I talked about him and his partner, Eugene Glenn. They'd been together for 50 years. Gene died about 3 years ago.
Did his mother know, Maurice Sendak's mother know?
That Maurice was gay? No, I don't think so. I never knew Sadie Sendak. She died in the 80s, I believe. And
even though she was with his partner for half a century, a number of those years while his mom was alive.
No, in fact, Maurice is on record as saying that he's certain that she didn't know. He had a tough relationship with his mother, and I think that she closed off a lot of things. I think Maurice was obviously in the night kitchen when he shows a little boy falling naked out of his bed, and all of his, he's naked, and you see his penis, you see that was, of course, enormously controversial, and the book is one of the most banned books, and he has a copy of In the Night Kitchen where a librarian painted in with whiteout diapers over Mickey so you wouldn't see his. He was unafraid of talking to children about the things that children talk about, always as a responsible adult, but with great respect for the difficulties of childhood, and your body is, of course, of interest to you as a child, and he didn't hide that. And I think that he struggled all his life with being a gay man in a field where a revelation of being gay much earlier than when he chose to reveal it would have certainly ended his career. But at the point that Maurice told a New York Times reporter, "I'm a gay man," and it was right after his partner of 50 years had died, you know, I think he knocked down, yeah, he knocked down another door, and he, you know, his life was, of course, immensely impacted by his sexual preference, as everyone's life is, and he was Herman Melville, who was one of his great heroes, was certainly at least bisexual, and I think that being a gay man mattered a lot to Maurice, and I think justice mattered a lot to Maurice. He believed in decency and in fair play and in integrity, which is why I think he really liked our current president, and would have been very moved to see change happening.
So, Tony, you mentioned